must have used this RF remote switch in your earlier days, or many of you may still be using it. It was a wonderful device to control your lights and fans remotely. The only issue was that these remote switches did not have any option to connect manual wall switches that are already present in our house, which is required to turn on or off the lights even without remote control. Many people had even connected the manual wall switches parallel to the outputs of this remote switch. But the problem with parallel wall switches is that you cannot use them simultaneously with the remote system, as you cannot turn off the lights remotely once you turn it on from the wall switch. Even today, people don't have any solution to this years-old problem. A few days back, one of my subscribers requested me to suggest a solution to this problem, as he is still using this remote switch in his village house. So taking his request, I ordered one of this remote switch for experimenting and finding a genuine solution to this problem. And after 2 weeks of R&D, I finally found a way to use the existing household manual wall switches simultaneously along with the remote control. So without any further delay, let's understand it. The purpose here is to control the output either with remote control or by the manual wall switch, or with both. To achieve this, we first need to understand the basic working of this remote switch. So when we press a button on the remote, it sends an encoded RF signal to receiver. The receiver then receives that signal and forwards it to an onboard microcontroller chip, which decodes the signal and turns the corresponding output pin high or low. A high signal from the microcontroller pin turns on a NPN transistor via a 10K resistor, which then turns on a relay attached to it. And this way the final output is controlled by the relay. So logically, using a manual wall switch, if somehow we can control that high signal which transistor is receiving from the microcontroller, we will be able to control the final output with manual wall switches also. To do this, we need a device that can receive signals from microcontroller as well as from the wall switch and then process them together to output a final signal to trigger the transistor. Let's see how both signal needs to be processed to get the desired output. Here you can see all the 4 different combinations that are possible at the input level and their desired output that we require to correctly control the final output. In the first case, the input signals, one from the microcontroller and another from the wall switch, when both of them are off, we want the output signal to transistor to remain off, and hence our connected light will also remain off. In second case, now if we press a button on the remote, the microcontroller signal will be on, and in this case we also want our transistor to turn on. Or if instead of remote we turn on the wall switch in third case, then also our transistor should get on. And finally, if after turning the wall switch on, we press the button from the remote or vice versa, the output should turn off. Complicated? Let me explain it in real sense. When both remote switch and the wall switch are off, the light is off. If I press the remote switch first to turn on the microcontroller signal, the light turns on. Similarly, if I turn on the wall switch first, the light still turns on. So basically, we can now control the light independently from wall switch or remotely, irrespective of the current state of the light. Hope now you understand it well. Now to achieve this functionality, we need to use a logic XOR gate. I hope you must have studied about the logic gates during your school days. Do comment below if you are one who had studied logic gates in school. Let me still explain it. A logic gate is a simple switching circuit that perform basic logical functions that are required to operate digital circuits. It is an electronic circuit having one or more than one input and one conditional output. Now in our case, the XOR logic gate turns the output high only if one of the input is high, and it turns the output low if both the inputs are in the same state, that is, either both of them are on or both are off. So the question now is how to use this XOR gate in this remote switch circuit. And the answer is very easy. We can use IC74HC86 or CD4070. Each of these ICs have inbuilt 4 XOR gates as shown. They are very cheap. You can get 5 of these ICs for just $1. And because each IC has 4 gates in it, you can control up to 4 channels remote switch with a single IC. I'm going to use 74HC86 IC today. If you are using CD4070, then please check its pinouts first to install accordingly. The installation is very basic. We will install this IC as shown in this circuit diagram. DC 5V power can be had from the microcontroller power supply pins or from pin 1 and 4 of the 4-pin RF module. Initially, the microcontroller output signal pins are connected directly to transistors via resistors R4, R5 and R6 as shown here. We need to break this direct connection first by desoldering one side of these resistors and solder 3 solid wires in their place like this. Now take a piece of small pref board and insert IC74HC86 and 3 1K resistors as shown. Install this board upside down on the microcontroller chip and make all connections as shown in the circuit diagram. The purpose of installing the IC near the microcontroller is to keep this digital circuitry away from the live voltages. In this picture you can see how we have connected the pulled end of resistors R4, R5, R6 and the 3 solid wires directly to pref board and have taken the power directly from the RF module pins. As mine is a 3-channel remote switch, so I have connected these 3 wires, yellow, orange and black, for the one terminal of 3 wall switches, and a 4th blue wire connected to plus 5V line as a common line for all 3 wall switches. So this way we have completed the installation process, and now we have a remote switch that supports the wall switches functionality also. I tried to explain the whole concept both theoretically as well as practically. Hope you now understand the whole idea behind this modification process. If you still have any query regarding the same, do let me know in the comments below and I'll definitely try to answer that at the earliest. You must admit that this was a unique idea, as I'm sure you would not have heard of anything on this topic before. And maybe after watching this video, many other YouTubers will now make videos on this issue. And yes, they should. After all, the motive is to spread the knowledge to make life easier. Anyways, I just have a passion to do things differently, and if you like my efforts and idea, do like and subscribe to this channel to get immediate notification of all my future videos based on unique ideas. Share this video in related communities and other platforms too. As mentioned earlier, the motive is to spread the knowledge. Okay, so do comment your queries and let me know how many of you have implemented it. I'll meet you with another exciting idea soon. Till then, goodbye friends.